New South Wales Government is overhauling the process of assessing major infrastructure projects. They hope it will help cut red tape to speed up building in the midst of a housing crisis. It's a big claim. Joining me now to test that claim is the New South Wales Treasurer, Daniel Mookhey. Daniel, good to see you. So how are you going to do this exactly, and how much time will you be saving?
Good to see you again, Laura. And we are overhauling the way in which we make major investment decisions when it comes to infrastructure spending. We've got a big challenge ahead of us here to build the homes, to build the power, to build the water that our growing state needs. And too often we're tripping over our own red tape when it comes to these projects. So we're overhauling it. We want to introduce the fast track, particularly when it comes to housing and when it comes to energy. So when it's clear that the government will be making an investment decision, we can speed up the process. Equally, I don't think it's a wise idea to keep asking the Department of Education to write separate business cases every time they want to fix a school hall, and nor do I think it's wise for the government to continue to spend vast sums of money on expensive consultancy-led projects that come back saying effectively the same thing. So what we're doing is we're simplifying the type of projects that need to go through this process. Sure. We're also making sure that we are doing a lot of this work in-house as a public service, but we're doing it because we've got to get on with the job of building the homes, building the power and building the water that we need.
Sure, planning is an absolute mess right across the country. In New South Wales, it is no different. So what you're proposing today is a good start, but it doesn't seem to touch the sides if we're going to get those that reach that housing target. So what else is up your sleeve, Treasurer?
Look, you're quite right to say, Laura, there's no silver bullet to this, and I'm not going to overpromise what this will deliver, but I will simply say it's one other form of intervention that the Premier and his government are doing to speed up the way in which we make decisions here in New South Wales. You're quite right to say that the planning system in New South Wales needs reform. I hear from businesses all the time that simply say that the time value of their money diminishes day by day as they keep getting bogged down in a planning system that's not geared towards helping us solve the housing crisis. Right. Earlier this week, we did release a report from the Productivity and Equality Commission here in New South Wales that said that we do need to look at other examples from states like Queensland and elsewhere that have better solutions to some of the same problems we're having here. So I'll simply say, Laura, we're always going to stay open to any good idea that helps us build the homes people need to be able to afford to live in the state of New South Wales.
Well, the planning portal, for one. I mean, there's so many complaints about that from small builders. Yeah.
Laura, you were right to hit me hard on the planning portal last time we had a chat, and I can say to you, since we've had that conversation in the budget, I put more money towards fixing this planning portal.
Is money helping things?
I'm checking in with the Planning Minister and the Planning Department on it. It is helping things. Okay. That additional money that we've put in towards fixing the planning portal, money we've put in to put AI into the planning system, the fact that we've hired another 200 planners. Sure, we've got a lot more work to do, but we are absolutely putting our money where our mouth is, and we'll continue to keep you updated on our planning portal reform. I
mean, a lot of your restrictions that you're going to have there in New South Wales is, federal overlaps as well. I want to take you now to the McPhillamys gold mine and the message that sends about investment in New South Wales. Are you frustrated that that gold mine essentially isn't going to go ahead because of cultural heritage reasons?
Well, I certainly think that gold mine had passed New South Wales planning assessment. It had passed New South Wales environmental assessment. It would have helped us diversify our economy. It would have made sure that we are a leading exporter of gold, particularly as a mining state like New South Wales. We have a lot of coal. We are transitioning towards critical minerals and other minerals like gold. We certainly wanted to see that mine go ahead. What we are doing with that mine is we're sitting down with the mine owners. We're also making a point about... Yeah, I mean, look, we've obviously have made the point that we would have preferred there to be a much clearer public explanation.
Sounds very polite of you, Treasurer.
Of course, we would continue, but I'll simply make the point, we want to we allow the federal government to explain their decisions. The responsibility we have as a state government is to see what we can do with the mine proponent and what alternative solutions are available, and making sure as well that they're not having to repeat the exact same work through the New South Wales planning system. We want to get a solution here where we want to make sure that we are in a position to help that community that's been looking forward to this project and deal with the concerns that have been raised as well.
What about investment into New South Wales? I mean, this is critically important from overseas and locally, of course. Should you, the Premier, be doing more overseas trade missions? Have you done any yet?
No, we haven't. And I'll just be very clear here. When it comes to overseas trade missions, we will set a very high bar for when we decide to go on them. It's fair to say that they have been controversial in New South Wales in the past. It's fair to say as well that in attracting inward investment into New South Wales, we remain Australia's premier destination for inbound investment as well. But equally, we've got a lot of New South Wales businesses geared up for export. We are overhauling our overseas trade strategy right now, but I'll make this point to anyone, be they from overseas or from other states, that if you want stable government, competitive taxes, a skilled workforce, put your money in New South Wales, because that's what we have to offer.
Okay, but perhaps you need to go overseas to spruik that message as well, Treasurer. I mean, are you saying there's been an overcorrection because of those past controversies?
No, but I'll simply make the point that you've got to learn the lessons from these controversies, and you've got to make sure that when we are putting money into these trade missions and these trade offices, that we are getting impact. Now, I know that the work that we are doing here, we've brought the Investment New South Wales into the Premier's department. We're putting it to the core and the central part of the New South Wales government. But equally, we're making the point that what we can do to attract inwards investment from overseas is to fix a lot of what's stopping it, which is to do a lot, particularly with our planning system. So there's no point in us saying to people, please put your money here, if at the same time we're offering them a 5-year, 8-year planning path for a critical investment decision.
That's right.
So it's one part of
the federal government come in at the last minute and go against what you would have done on a gold mine near Blaney, for example.
Yeah, but I'd just make the point as well that we in New South Wales have many of the critical minerals that the world wants and the world needs if we're to get this net zero transmission wrong. So whilst we have our challenges, I'm not going to undersell our advantages either. We have a lot of the critical minerals that are required to ensure that world supply chains are diversified. And the work that we're doing here in New South Wales to develop our critical mineral strategy is very important. You're quite right to say we will always argue for federal settings that make investment certainty greater. But we're not going to undersell the advantages of New South Wales when we reach these obstacles and these hurdles.
Those federal settings seem way out of kilter with what you want to do, correct?
Oh, look, I'd just make the point that the federal government have their responsibilities, we have ours.
Sure.
We account for our decisions and we explain them, and of course we want the federal government to do the same. But this is going to be a challenge for lots of states as they are having to diversify their economies, particularly those that are moving away from traditional commodities to new minerals. My message to any federal government is more certainty earlier in the process is better for the nation.
Okay. It would be remiss of me not to ask you about the council elections, which are tomorrow in New South Wales. Also, this meeting going on within the Liberals at the moment. Julia Bradley has just confirmed from 2 sources that there is going to be a 3-person committee here. Look, I don't blame you for wanting to capitalise on what is an absolute disaster within the Liberals in New South Wales at the moment. But in recent days, we've all seen shocking allegations of branch stacking and bullying in Newcastle Labor. I mean, it happens all the time, doesn't it?
Well, look, I'm not going to try to capitalise on what the Liberal Party internal matters are. Needless to simply say that we want a local government sector that is responsive, that is democratic, but is also in a position to help this government deal with the housing crisis that we are facing. And I would simply make a message, the message that I will give is obviously I think people should be voting for their Labor candidates in tomorrow's local government elections. And I think the reason why is because those candidates are the ones who understand the magnitude of the housing challenge that we're facing. Yeah. We can't be a state that locks out people from opportunity. Tomorrow is an opportunity for the people of New South Wales to vote for councils, Labor councils, that will help us deal with the housing crisis, that are the reasons why so many people are feeling cost of living pressures.
Treasurer, it's always good to talk to you. Thanks so much for being generous with your time once again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Laura.